Hey guys, welcome back to another chapter review for One Piece, chapter 1153, called The Birth of Loki. And we get nice backstory on 108, 105 years ago with Harald becoming the person he is. And let's jump into the chapter. Grab your drink, coffee, anything you want, and let's just jump straight in. And I really been getting into these Ollipops that are pretty good lately. But yeah, we get to see young. It's so funny how old they are as giants, how long they've lived. We see young Brogy, Dory, and they have like the same outfit, just miniaturized, and Harold as young children, even young at the same age. Presumably, Harold is so much bigger than other. He's basically he's what Loki is right now. He's so much bigger. He's always been bigger than everybody else around him. And we have Prince Harold, not King Harold, Prince Harold. We get no information on his dad, which is fine, great. Just progress the story, right? It just looks like King was regular. This is the story of Harold. No, doesn't matter what his parents were. And we see, and it really represents, it gives me the vibes of Odin. He was just born different. But actually, that's Loki. We're about to get to Loki later. But you see, he was just born different. He was born strong. He can kind of do whatever he wants. And back then, 100+ years ago, giants were revered, feared, and he was able to do dang near anything he wanted because of how strong he naturally is above everybody else. I feel like he was even, no, that's too much of a long shot, right? Yonko level, right? Like in his day and age, he was basically a Yonko of the sea. Like Elbaph is so strong that Emu wanted that strength so much so that I feel like Harold was even a top contender in the verse, right? In the sea. You see him just be able to just pick his nose, throw it into the ocean, and create a massive shockwave. As I predicted in my previous video, I felt it. I'm like, he's this bad, but I feel in my heart of hearts that it's gonna be a woman. What's gonna change him is a woman, kind of like Odin, right? Not even Odin. Odin was always a good person, but in this case, I felt like a woman was going to change the way he views things and his heart. And exactly that, he sees Ida far off into the distance, looks like captured in an island behind the cage, and Harold goes to save a giant, a fellow giant. Doesn't matter if they're from Elbaph or not. He went to save Ida. And it's funny because Ida was actually in a costume. She's wearing what looks like long hair, horns, and all that. And it's so funny seeing this type of art style from Oda because this woman doesn't look like the type of person the type of woman Oda draws. She doesn't look like she has the curvature of Nami, the build of Nami, the build of Robin, and even the build later of a woman we see that Harold has to get with in the future. But we'll get to that. She looks very different. She even well, no, she's still like the very similar personality to Nami. It reminded me a lot of Nami. But Oda's drawing style when she goes to hit Harold is so funny. His face of shock when he's holding himself, it's like, what did you like? I don't think he's ever been smacked by somebody so carelessly in his life that it actually like stumbled him. And the form that he speaks to these people about humans, it baffled Ida so much so that she is outrageous. She's saying so much bad things about Elbaph that I feel like nobody's been able to bring up to Harold in this case. Or speak about it because he's surrounded by yes men. He's surrounded by people that are like, yes, yes, you're strong. Humans are dumb. All that stuff. We're better than humans. Everything that he's preaching. And she spends so much time around humans. They saved her life that she is talking good about humans. That they're not all the way that he's saying. And he's changing his outlook because he thinks he's walking with a chip on his shoulder. like has not, is the chip on the shoulder reference right here? Like he's walking like he's better than normal people. But in this case, she's telling them that they saved her life and you were just lucky. You're just born lucky. You're born stronger. You were happened to be born in Elbaph, born bigger, born stronger. You got lucky. And you see like Oda's paneling in this case, where after she smacks him and after she says that and he's just there, you see him pondering, you see him thinking, and it really just sets a tone for the chapter. And he's just change. It feels like the gears are turning in his head. Like, I was born lucky. Was it? Is that true? Is that all it is to him? And it really like gets to me. It really got to me, this chapter, the message that is going to Harold, and like it starts creating the effect of changing him and seeing how Ida is with these people, that he starts sending his men to help rebuild the city. Like, what am I doing with my life? What am I actually like doing? And he starts to grow and see that they have different things than Elbaph. They do things better than Elbaph. They have different seasonings. They have different food. They have different building structure. They have different crafting and materials and cloths. That it starts setting a precedent that, and maybe we can do something, because we are slower. We're just very strong group of people, but they have a lot of other materials and craftsmanship that we can incorporate into Elbaph. And it starts turning the gears in his head of maybe there's something we can do with that. And Ida starts changing him slowly and surely. And the progress of Harold, it feels like the chapter's a little sped up, but it has to be just to get through to the story. One thing I don't like, but it really feels like Miyazaki's sort of esque, but I'll get to it in a little bit. He ends up being with, a few years go by, he spends a lot of time with Ida, even 40 years with Ida, or maybe not, I don't know, but like, we get through 40, no, not 40 more years, 20 more years. He's growing, he's talking to Ida, they're adventuring, they're seeing things. It seems really weird what gets to be in the story later. Like, I would have thought that something would have happened to Ida in the next like few panels, because it throws me off. Let's go. Continue with the chapter. It's 105 years ago. Harold's saying, we're going to bring a new era to Elbaph. We're going to start doing trade. We're going to start learning from other people. We're going to start doing commerce and all this stuff. And everybody's saying this is a new change, a good change, and it's growth for Elbaph. And you see Harold actually getting into the very like technical aspects and learning trade, learning advantage, using leverage, using all this stuff, and kind of calling it out. But it's how nations trade with each other, and Ida is there with him every step of the way. Even when he's learning, she falls asleep on the desk while he's conducting his research and trade studies, and he's going to other nations. And they end up having a child together. Great, we have Hajrudin introduced into the story. Great, awesome. Fudge, I have 5%, I better hurry up. So, Hajrudin is born, but the nation can't recognize his marriage. I don't like that, but he says fine. But then they introduce a woman with ancient giant blood in her, and she just I don't like it that much. Ida just kind of just smiles and says, well, at least we're going to have Hajrudin near your dad. You're going to be near your dad. Okay. She just kind of accepts it because it is. But why do we need... He needs to have an heir, right? So Hajrudin isn't recognized as the prince. So is he forced to have a child with this woman called Estrid? He's forced to have a child with Estrid, but he marries her, I think. I'm not really sure. She loves him, or immediately, right? Wants to have a baby and all that, and they have basically Loki. No, they not basically. They have Loki, but I don't like that Ida is still in the story even after Loki is born, but why did he leave Ida? Like, don't you love this woman more? Maybe it's different in culture. It's just a giant culture and it's okay. I don't know. Maybe that's just like other beliefs, right? Like you should have one wife, man and wife, right? I don't know. I kind of threw me off because I would have thought he stays with Ida until like somebody would have assassinated her, something would have happened to her that she dies and they're left with Hajrudin. But for all intents and purposes, Ida's still alive. To this day, she would still be alive, right? Estrid has. We're just breezing through the story right now before my camera dies. Estrid has Loki while what's it called? Harald is out to sea. We have Estrid. She's very just basically drawn in a typical Oda fashion. This is the person that is going to be Harald's wife and bear his children, or his child at least. And Harald is talking about what's out there in the world. And while he's in one of his adventures, Loki is born, and we see why Loki has his eyes covered. My man's has these devilish looking eyes. Let's just say that. He has devilish looking eyes. He has horns immediately from birth. I don't even think, well, we don't know if Harald had horns when he was young. Yeah, he had horns. Okay. So Loki, immediately from birth, he has horns. And Estrid freaks out like, this is not my child. This is not meant to happen. Say it's a stillborn. And I think she basically throws him off the cliff. Like, Estrid, for all intents and purposes, out of the story for me. Like, she is dead to me. Like, it says in a panel, which, by the way, break next week, unfortunately. It says, Estrid collapsed due to ill health. She's, by all intents and purposes, dies after that for me. And Harald is left with Ida, let's say. Just kind of because this was a forced upon thing to Harald, I feel like. He didn't even want it. Maybe. I don't know. Well, I would say he didn't want it. But anyway. We have Loki thrown off the cliff, crawling back to the top of the Sun Realm. And, oh man, my camera's gonna die. But it's just so crazy seeing this